Hi everyone, I'm Jessica of Athens Movement Practice, here with Marvin. Thanks Athens Roadrunners for having us on your runner talk last week. Today we'll be presenting a hip tutorial.
The first part of the video, I will coach Jessica through all of our movements, and then after that we're going to show you how to put them all together to make a nice little 10-minute workout for yourselves. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
Alright, first thing we're going to do is lie down on your back, arms extended out to the sides, feet all the way straight out. Arms out like a T, perfect. You're going to pull one leg in to your chest as far as you can. We'd like to see that knee come past the hip. This is working on the hip flexors right here. Now, Jessica, push your knee toward your left hand and reach down and grab your knee and look to the right. So we're getting a stretch through the low back and through the glutes and across the IT band right here. So if you have tight hips on the lateral part, this is a good one for you. Now we're just going to march this back and forth. Leg goes long, pull the other knee in, past 90, and stretch. Make sure you turn your head here. We want a big stretch to the front side of the body as well. Let's do that one more time. So this is our 90-90 stretch position from the ground. All right, next we're going to go ahead and get that core activated, and we're going to do a combination between a dead bug and a roll. We call them dead rolls. Ready? So go ahead and lift that right knee and use your left hand to give pressure to it. So there's pressure here and here. She's pulling on the knee and pushing with the hand, and she's going to roll to the extended arm side. And then roll back. So now we have some core activation through the oblique sling system. This is what you're going to use when you run. Might as well challenge it now. One more time. And that was a dead roll. Next, we're going to do our figure 4 stretch from lying down. She's going to cross one ankle at the opposite knee, and now she's just going to rock her hips back and forth, making sure her knee stays open, and pull that knee to the ground. This is good for the glutes on this side. Keep that knee nice and open, and then when she pulls her knee down on the other side, that's all the hip flexors all through here. One more time, and then let's go ahead and switch sides. So figure 4 position, and then rock. Really work that knee down. Make sure you keep that knee open right there, so push it away from you. All right, so now that we have the outside of our hips and legs nice and limber, we're going to move into a wide bent sit position. And now she's going to rotate through a 90-90 position again. Perfect. So we have 90-degree angle here, here, and here. And then switch to the other side. So this is hip internal and external rotation under a little bit of load. This time Jessica's going to move into a stretch for the glute when she goes back to the other side. So this is like a modified pigeon pose. And then let's come back. You should feel this across the glute that's on the ground, the side that you're stretching towards. Still getting that internal, external rotation at the hip. This time we're going to move the chest over the foot, and this is going to work a different angle. Maybe you get some hamstring in, probably going to pull along the IT band. And then one more time each way. All right, we're going to move into our seated figure 4 position and do a figure 4 front lunge. So we're going to lunge forward, rolling over the bottom foot, keeping the spine nice and neutral, and our legs again at 90-90. And she's going to rock back and switch to the other side. Make sure you keep the heel on the ground in the front. The knee's going to come well past the toes here. you get a nice calf stretch. On the down foot, it's plantar flex, and we stretch the shin. So any kind of shin splits, this will be good for that. We also get a lot of hip flexion here as we work back and forth between the two sides. All right, now we're going to move into our side bent sit. So it's like the wide bent sit position, but it's much closer. So in this position, instead of 90-90, we have our foot and knee pretty close. They're almost touching. And from here, we're just going to switch this back and forth. And you can choose to switch with no hands like Jessica just did, with her hands on her knees. That's going to activate the core a little bit more because it forces you to stabilize as you switch sides. If your hip flexors are tight here, you butt march forward. So she might be inching a little closer to you guys right now. If that's a problem, you just dig your heels in when you come back and push yourself back. And then rock it over. Super. Or you can use your hands. And that's going to keep your weight back into your hands, into your heel. All right, we're going to switch this because we need glute activation and some hip extension. So we're going to switch and then move into what we call a split kneel position. Perfect. So it's just the same switch, but now we're just extending the hip and squeezing the glutes. Okay, so we're going to take that split kneel position and move into a half kneeling position. Perfect. So we're learning how to pick our legs up from the ground. The knee that's on the ground is moving through internal rotation. The knee that's coming up is moving through external rotation, all at the hip. Remember to squeeze your glute. From here, we're going to add in a reach. So she's going to step forward, reach down with her right arm, touch her heel. And that's going to pull on the hip flexor on the left side. And then come back. Opposite arm to foot. There we go. Hip flexor on the right side. Give me two more. Reach here, opposite hand to foot. And then back. Last time. All right, from there, we're going to go ahead and stand. And then come back down. Pull that leg around. Press and stand. One more time for pull those legs around, back to your side bend switch, kneeling and then up. Side bend switch, kneel, and stand. Perfect, now we're up. So we've got ankles, knees, hips, everything should be getting a little bit loose now. Now we're going to work on some torso rotation because that's important in running, which means your legs will experience an internal and an external rotation position. All right, so we're going to step through this. Ready? She's going to step forward with her right leg. Not big, just a small step. And hands are going to come to the hip. Perfect. So she's got one hand on her hip and the other hand on the shoulder. Right here, this arm is pulled back and tucked. She's squeezing her shoulder blade on this side. So now we're rotated toward the stance leg. Okay, and then a little bit forward. Perfect. So we got a little bit of rotation here, which means this hip right here is experiencing some internal rotation and this hip is experiencing some external rotation. Go ahead and step and switch hands. And then step back. Make sure you push off and your toes are up. See how she switches here? And push. Move onto that lead leg. So we're thinking stance phase transition. Back and forth. Good, go ahead and switch legs. So she's only moving her left leg right now. We're going to do the right side. So you got to do both sides. Make sure your hand is on your hip. And when you step and switch, pause for me. And she's back here. This hand is back. This is your lead leg. This is your arm. When she comes back, she's coming down and switching. So that hand's always going toward the ground before it comes up. All right, super. We got one more for you. It's a hard one, as it always promises to be. So there are some things called controlled articular rotations, which just means your hip's going to move through the entire range of motion, and you're going to try to put some control to it. We're going to have a chair, a box, a big workout ball, or maybe nothing at all, you can just imagine. But we're going to give something for an external cue for Jessica. She's going to pull her hip forward into flexion, move sideways into perfect, and rock it around, and then come back up. All right, so we just have this for a cue because I want her to be roughly a little bit higher than 90. Move to the side, and 90 here, and all the way through. And where do you feel it? The bottom leg or the top leg?
The bottom leg.
Yeah, so the leg that's grounded, the one that's working, is getting the most benefit out of this, even though it looks like, go ahead, this is the one that we're trying to work on because we're rocking around and rolling on top of that pivot point right there. Good?
Good.
All right, so those are our 10 exercises for hip mobility. So welcome back. This is our supine 90-90 stretch. If you're turning this into a workout, we're going to shoot for 10 reps on each side. Make sure that bottom leg stays long. You can point the toe there. All right. Some core activation with our dead rolls. So, here we go. Hold that knee in, pushing, creating tension through the body. And switch. Just gonna do 10 today, but you can do 10 on each side at home. All right, figure 4 stretch. Arms out to the side, palms up, heel to the ground. Knee to the ground. It's the glute on one side, hip flexors on the other. Just switch that. Make sure this knee is pushed out as far as you can. Don't let it creep in. Keep it out, even on the way down. There, we're gonna rock this into that figure 4 position, but from seated. You're gonna come around and into the front and step out far. Lunge. Switch. Lunge. Make sure you keep that spine nice and straight so I'm a little bit rounded. I can get taller here. Heel stays on the ground. Doesn't look that challenging, but trust me, it's hard. 2 more will get me to 10. All right, I'm pretty tight because I've been doing a little bit of running. So here's my wide bent sit. I want a nice wide stance here. So when our knees fall down, we get 2 90-degree angles. So 90-90, and then switch. Drive those heels in, let your legs or hips move through internal and external rotation. One side may be a lot tighter than the other side. All right, we're going to move this into our modified pigeon here, just by reaching forward. Chest goes over the knee. Hang out 2 to 3 seconds and then move to the other side. I'm going to take that. Chest is going to go toward my foot now, just as far as I can go. Maybe you got more than me. Should get the whole outside of that leg. Good beat. One more on the foot. All right, we're going to narrow our stance. Feet are hip width apart now. So when my legs fall pretty close to touching, just going to switch that back and forth. And here we can go ahead and throw in some bigger stretches if we need to, just to get the upper body involved. And like Jessica did before, we can do it with no hands. You're gonna find a lot of hip flexor action in this. Mine's actually get pinchy. So stay pressed away. All right, we're gonna push up. Into this split knee position. Make sure those toes in the back always come down. Mine want to dig into the ground. And you can use your hands here. And step, bring it back. So you're going to the corner of your mat. Squeezing the glute. The more you squeeze the glute and the taller you get, the more hip flexor action we get. So now we're going to reach. Trying to get to my heel with that reach. All right. Step, stand, bring it back. We're aiming for those hip flexors. So if you want, you can take a bigger step right there. Extend. Just like we did before. 2 more, I think. All right. I think that brings us to standing. Okay. This is the fun part. This is where we put our hand on our hip when it's in stance space. And then as we push off, we're going to transition to the other side. I want my arm to swing down to the ground and come back up to the opposite shoulder. Down first, like a pulse. So I want my back foot to be lined up towards my front foot, so internally rotating the hip here. And here we go. Other side. So, moving my other leg. Here we go. All right, I'm going to take that into a single leg stance and drive that knee up. So, it's just here to here. So what we're looking for here is hip extension. Other side. Start down, switch on up. Lost my balance. And of course, we're going to end with the hip bar. So, got my external cue, got my other thing, could be a chair for balance. I'm going to come up, over. Remember, I'm working this leg as much as this one. Flatten out here, turn down, come up. So I'm rotating around. Keep that leg up. Gets hard. Switch sides. All right. So, up to the side, bring it around and up. Both legs are working. It's actually harder for my left leg on this side. That's it. Hip mobility, hip stability comes from the ground up. Thanks for watching.